Okay. Now, as you have opened the page and you see the passage, I want you to scan it once and look for words that you find that are repeating. So you'll find the word African bees. Then, if you go by scanning the passage, you will find Verua Jacobsoni. Repeat it once again. Then, you will also find European being repeated. European being repeated. Okay, so now we start reading the passage. One advantage of breeding African bees with other bee types, that is, the Africanization of the bees, may be resistant to the parasite mite Varroa jacobsoni. So we are talking about a mite, and the name of the mite is Varroa jacobsoni, a major threat to modern beekeeping. So what is the major threat? It is the parasitic mite. So the first sentence is trying to tell us that if we breed the African bees with any other bee type, it provides a resistance to the bees against a particular parasite. So what I am doing is I am just making an arrow from showing that the major threat is the parasite. So this is my main idea, I think so. Now reading further, it says that in parts of Europe, this mite, so what is this mite that we are already talking about? This mite is devastating honeybees and killing many colonies despite. So we have a transition word, a contrasting word that says that despite many preventive measures taken by beekeeping, the honeybees are being killed by the particular mite. So this is our okay. So then if we move forward, we see there is another word, but contrasting what has been already mentioned here. So what is it contrasting? That in Brazil, now we talked about in parts of Europe, we are going to talk about in Brazil, Varroa jacobsoni has been present in Africanized bees since 1972 without a single colony killed. So this is contradicting something that is happening in Europe. So what is happening in Brazil is that no bees are being killed, whereas in Europe many bees being killed, even though beekeepers there undertook no preventive measures. Now this is important. Here they were taking preventive measures, but here no preventive measures are being taken. The mites lay. So we have point number 1 over here, fine. So we just mark it over here. The mites lay eggs within the blood. Now here we are moving on to point number 2, which says that the mites lay eggs without the blood cells of immature bees. I'm sorry, this is immature bees. And developing mites feed on the hemolymph of bee pupae. So, but again there's something that contradicts, but fewer mites means very few mites reproduce in Africanized bees than in European bees. And what is the reason? Some researchers point out that this resistance, what is the resistant, may be related to the Africanized worker bee shorter development period. So the Africanized worker bee shorter development period is the reason that the mites are not able to grow, which prevents some mites from reaching maturity. So which is the development period, the shorter development period. Recently, the mite has become serious problem. So this is entire thing is our point number 2. Now recently, the mite has become serious problem in colonies and European bees in North America. So in Europe, the bees are a big problem. The Africanization of these bees may be the best safeguard against this parasite. So what does this say? That if we Africanize the bee, if we breed them with the European bees, these bees uh, may find the best safeguard against the parasite. So after reading the entire thing, what I find is that this first sentence is the premise of the passage, and This sentence is the conclusion. And all these are details that support my premise. Okay. So the premise is that one advantage of breeding African bees with other bee types may be resistance to the parasite mite Varroa jacobsoni, a major threat to modern beekeeping. And therefore, Africanization of these bees may be the best safeguard against this parasite. I hope you have understood the passage, and so we move on to solving the questions. Now, in this question, the passage suggests that which one of the following was true of the honeybee colonies described in line 4 to 6. So, we have to find true of the honeybee colonies described. So, we go back to the passage, line number 4 and to 6 says that in parts of Europe, this mite is devastating honeybees and killing many colonies despite many preventive measures by beekeeping. So, this one is an easy question, and I want you all to read the options, pause the button, read the options, and try to figure out the correct answer. I hope you have done that. So let's work it out together once. A says that their life expectancy when free of disease was shorter than that of European bee colonies in North America. This statement is irrelevant to the sentence, to the line 4 to 6, and therefore we can eliminate this option because it does not talk anywhere about free of disease and life expectancy in particularly line number 4 to 6. They were not Africanized. Going back to the statement, in Europe, this mite is devastating. Many preventive measures were taken, and if you read the next sentence, it gives us the idea that yes, they were not Africanized, so we can keep this. So we move on to the next option. Their life cycle did not accommodate the feeding habits of Varroa jacobsoni. Again, something which cannot be inferred from the information in line 4 to 6. They responded well to measures to control Varroa jacobsoni. This is totally false and therefore can be eliminated. They were managed using methods that were more modern than those employed in Brazil. Again, is false in context of the passage and therefore can be eliminated, and we have the correct answer B. I hope you all got it correct. So we move on to the next question, question number 2. Now this question is a little different. I want you all to read it carefully. The author cites all of the following as the evidence that Africanized bees' resistance to Varroa jacobsoni is superior to that of European bees, except, please underline the word except here. That means we need to find something that does not say that Africanized bees' resistance to the parasite is superior than that of the European bees. Now, reading on to the first option, the first says, fever, Varroa jacobsoni mites reproduce in Africanized bees. If you have read the first statement carefully, this is what the first statement says. So therefore, this is true in context of the passage, and therefore we write a T over here. So moving on to the next option, it says Varroa jacobsoni is killing many bee colonies in Europe. Yes, again, our sentence number 4 to 6 says that many bee colonies have been killed by the parasite. Therefore, this is true in context of the passage, and we'll mark a T over here. Moving on to the next option, beekeepers in Brazil have not used preventive measures to protect their colonies. Going back to the passage, we have already circled that the beekeepers there undertook no preventive measures. Therefore, it is a specific detail, and again, it is true. Brazilian bee colonies have endured Varroa jacobsoni since 1972, which is again correct in context of the passage, directly found. So we'll make a T over here. So we come to the last option, which says at least some European bee colonies have been saved by preventive measures. Now, have been saved by preventive measures is nowhere mentioned in the passage. Therefore, this is a false statement in context of the passage. So now we can see that A, B, C and D, all of which are true in context of the passage. Therefore, they are incorrect answers, and our correct answer is option E. I hope you are getting it. We move on to the next question. Reading the question, according to the passage, research suggests that one possible reason that the Africanized bees in Brazil have successfully resisted Varroa jacobsoni is that. Now I want you all to pause the press the pause button, read all the options and find the correct answer, because this is a specific detail and I am sure all of you will be able to get the correct answer. Okay, now I hope that you all have done and found the answer, but discussing once again, the correct answer for this question is A, which says the life cycle of the Africanized bees may limit the Varroa jacobsoni's mites opportunity to reach full development. As we read in the passage that they have a shorter development period, which does not provide them an opportunity to develop. Now B says may have had an opportunity to develop a chemical resistance, something totally irrelevant from, so we eliminate this option. The next option says the location of the bee colonies in Brazil may provide a natural deterrent, so again it is irrelevant and can be cancelled. Varroa jacobsoni may be new to Brazil and may not have had time to become widespread, is totally again out of the context, eliminate. Beekeepers may develop defective control, this is something that they may develop, so we cannot infer that, again it can be eliminated, and it was an easy question to be solved. So we move on to the last question, which is the author's main argument. So we need to find what is the author arguing regarding the resistance of Africanized bees to Varroa jacobsoni would be most weakened, underline this word, it would be most weakened if which of the following were true. So the question asks us to find a sentence that weakens the author's argument. And now what was the author's argument? Going back to the passage, one advantage of breeding African bees with other bee types may be resistance to the parasite mite, a major threat to modern beekeeping. That is the argument of the author. So something that contradicts this idea. Now as we know that we cannot negate the premise. We cannot say that the premise itself is wrong in weakening our arguments. So we are going to find some alternative that says that it was not correct. So reading option A, the bees and I want you all to read the option once. So press the pause button, read the option and then we resume. Okay, so welcome. I hope that you have all read it and tried to figure out something. So what we do is find all the options that support the author's argument. Now A says that the bees in Brazil were resistant before being Africanized, something we do not know about, so we will keep it for a moment and move on to the next option. The number of bee colonies in North America increased dramatically, whereas the number in Brazil remained unchanged. Does this say something about that the bees, when Africanized, had higher resistance against the mites? It does not say anything like that, so I think we can eliminate this option. C says mites found in European countries reproduce at a faster rate than mites of identical species found in the bees in Brazil. Okay, we can keep this option for now because it says that the mites reproduce at a faster rate than those in Brazil, which is again mentioned in our passage. D says Africanized bees retain many of the characteristics of the European bees. What is many? It's a vague word, not explaining us what many is. Is it the resistance against the bees or the non-resistant against the mites. So we do not know about it, and therefore we can also eliminate D. Bee colonies in Europe continue to produce greater quantities of honey than to those in Brazil. Again, you can easily eliminate this. So we are left with A and C. So battle is between A and C. The bees in Brazil were resistant before being Africanized is something we do not know. But this definitely explains something, that mites found in European countries reproduce at a faster rate than mites. So even though when the bees are Africanized, the mites that are found in European countries, because they reproduce at a faster rate, the shorter development period of the African bees will not help them to have resistance against the mites. So C is the correct answer. I hope you are getting how you are supposed to solve this type of questions. Thank you.